1, 2, 3. Hey now, Metal Mike coming at you. It is Wednesday morning, right? And we're going to shoot a video because we're going to touch on a topic that I brought up yesterday in yesterday's video. And what was awesome is we got a couple responses in my comment box about it. And what I'm talking about is the reproduction SS dagger. And I think that the comment we're going to go refer right to is, I would never buy a reproduction SS dagger. What's the point? Here were the points that I'm going to address. What's the point of buying an SS reproduction dagger? I hate reproduction items because they are out there to burn guys that don't know what they're doing, that are early in the collecting game, etc. Also, what it does is it devalues your collection if it's sitting next to original items. And also, I heard a comment that it can also, if it's sitting next to items, it will make people question your other items. Okay, let's start at the top. And let's address that comment because it really kind of irked me. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to explain my purchase. I'm going to explain my reasoning behind why I would even buy a piece like this. Number one, if you watch the video at all, I mention immediately that this is a vintage reproduction, stating clearly that it's either between the 1960s 1980s is when that dagger came out, and that it's a high quality reproduction. Basically, someone that would not know what to look for would buy that and make a mistake if they were told the wrong information. But thank heaven for research out there, and that's why that video is out there also as well, is so that someone will see that and be able to what to look for as to what is a reproduction. Why would I buy a reproduction? Well, number one, because it's a vintage reproduction, there is a fucking market for it. I'm telling you that because I've collected German World War I and World War II stuff for over 16 years now. And I've been in the game 40 fucking years. So you say, well, why the fuck would someone want to own a reproduction SS dagger? Well, here's the situation. German collecting is across the field. There's all different areas of it, and there's a lot of guys that do reenactments. Now, the guys that do reenactments tend to use reproduction pieces simply because they are dressing up like an SS officer, and unless you are just well-to-do and have money in the bank big time, they don't need to go out and buy a real SS dagger to wear to a reproduction show when they dress up in their uniforms, etc. So these pieces are sought for that very reason. Number one, they don't have to worry about if it gets damaged. They don't have to worry about if they get a ding on it because it's fake. But yet it's fake enough that they are able to reenact. And so, that aside, the reproduction dagger that I showed you yesterday, also I mentioned, there's a value to it. I paid $50 for it. Right now that dagger is worth between $100 and $300 because there are people out there that actually collect the vintage reproduction items from German World War II. You used to be able to buy them in the back of gun magazines, comic books, 60s, 70s, 80s. That was a huge time. The reproductions that now are coming out of China are complete shit. There's no question they're fake. They have plastic handles. Everything about them is crap. So, that piece that I bought, right now, I could flip it for $100, no problem. I could flip it for $200, no problem. I could flip it for $300, no fucking problem. So that explains to you why I would buy that. Number one, it's a cool piece. Is it going to go in my collection? No, it's going to go on my wall. Because on the wall, I can grab it, I can open a box with it. It's a looker. I have a real SS dagger, okay? That's in my collection. I don't put any reproduction items in my collection. So, that fucking defends it. So quit being so angry about reproduction pieces. How about knowledge? Because if you have knowledge, then you don't have to worry about being angry about it. It's interesting too. One of my earliest videos I ever did was back in 2009 for a German paratrooper helmet that was a reproduction. The video was labeled Reproduction Paratrooper German Helmet. It was actually a beautiful reproduction helmet. Mind you, if you were to go out, if you could even find an original German paratrooper helmet, you're talking over $3,500 and up. And good luck even finding one. So a lot of guys, that is one piece in their helmet collection, they will get a filler reproduction because simply the odds of even finding a real one are very rare. And if they do find one, boy, you're going to pay out of the ass for it. You might pay $6,000 to $10,000 for it, maybe even more. So a lot of guys will fill in with that. But anyway, going back to 2009, I had a video up where I sold a reproduction paratrooper helmet. I wish I didn't. I wish I still had it now. I sold it to pay bills at the time. It was a beautiful piece, but I never seen such an onslaught of negativity and attack comments as I received in that. People would write comments like, reproduction is shit, this and that, and even attacked me because I made a video showing a reproduction helmet, labeled it a reproduction helmet, and yet they still couldn't get it. People get hung up on it. Reproductions do fucking suck. Let's face it, they're across the field in many different areas of collecting, especially military. Highly, highly out there. And especially now there's a huge amount of it coming in from Poland and from Russia. And a lot of this stuff is made to look old. They're burying it in the ground. They're pissing on it. They're getting fake patina. And they're moving these pieces out. And not under the guise of reproduction, but as under the guise of original barn found. So that is frustrating, but being aware as a collector, that's where you have to learn in school. Iron crosses, very interesting. There are some amazing reproductions coming out of Poland, not coming out, that have already come out and are still coming out. They're three-piece construction. They're magnetic cores. Everything about them reeks of original. There's nothing you could do to visually look at it and tell that it's a fake. But there is a trick, and I'm going to tell it to you right now. Any German World War II medal you should be able to place in the palm of your fucking hand. Right here. That's the palm, eh? Hey now! I know something. I learned something in school in health class. This is the palm of my hand. And look, there's no hair on it. So, you can push any German medal in your hand, and simply a little bit of pressure. If it begins to bend, it'll bend almost like lead, even though it's not lead. That is a fake. Any German World War II medal will not bend. They were built quality. Even towards the end of the world, towards the end of the war, they used pot metal on some, but the iron crosses were always constructed beautifully and of quality materials. So one should never ever be able to bend one in the palm of your hand. You can do that test. And I'm not saying you have to break someone's metal, but if you're at a flea market and you have an iron cross, simply palm it and give a little bit of light pressure. It will move. If it begins to bend, I'm not saying bend that fucker, but you'll know. You'll feel just before there's a feeling, and you can test it out, and you'll know. And then you know that's a fake. At that point, you can either tell the buyer that it's a fake and let them know, or you can just place it down and walk away. So, that being said, I'm defending my SS Dagger because, number one, why would I buy it? Because it's cool and it's sought after by reenactors. And I can sell it at any time for a profit. And I will do that. The longer I have it, the more value it will go up. Right now, I could flip it and double my money, but that's not what I bought it for. I simply wanted it. Mind you, the person that I bought this dagger from, it had been in their family for years. Since, I'm going to say, at the very least, the 1980s. And the person was actually apprehensive about selling it due to the fact it had been in the family so long. And though they knew it was a reproduction, they had also heard the opposite. They had heard people say, well, maybe, because originally what a lot of the rumors out there with these early reproduction pieces is that some of the pieces are original. And they would take these pieces and then they would just reconstruct the other ones to make a dagger and sell. A lot of these daggers also went out, they continued to manufacture daggers after World War II when Germany was occupied and became West and East Germany because obviously they were still occupied. And guys that were there wanted something to send home because people loved to send these things home as souvenirs. So they continued to manufacture them and pump them home through the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s. So I think that covers it. Don't be afraid to buy a reproduction if you know it's a reproduction and you know what you're doing. There are also some there's some high-end reproduction toys out there that have some value. And so reproduction is not always a word that you need to be insulted or concerned about and feel like you've been ripped off. If you're aware of what type of reproduction you're buying and the reasoning behind it, there is nothing to feel bad about. You are not doing anything wrong by having it in your collection, and the negativity must stop because it's all about education. That video is important because it will show someone who doesn't know what to look for. And it will also inform them that there's different levels of reproductions. Because if you compared that SS Dagger to a modern reproduction SS Dagger, you would fucking lean towards the one I bought and say, holy shit, this is a real one. Also, they're sought after, like I said, for reenactors that need an SS Dagger on their belt when they're all in their, done up in their gear and shit. They can hang that on there, and they don't have to worry about if they were to lose it, etc. Only a couple $100 compared to $3,500 and up. So Metal Mike defending my post yesterday, explaining that post yesterday. You gotta listen to the words, people. You gotta listen in between the lines. Now I know you say you always love my videos, Vinyl 79 or whatever your title is. I'm trying to just call it off the top of my head. But, you know, the negativity, I have no place for it. When I say that, does that bring out more negativity? You better fucking believe it. I might as well ask for negativity, but I don't give a shit. What I really want to do is, no matter what, whether I'm getting that response, a negative one, or a positive one, that's a positive, because we're getting a response. It's kind of like Kiss used to say in the old days, in the 1970s, before Kiss actually, though they were huge, most people hated Kiss. It was, you either love us or hate us, but we're still getting a reaction. So hate or a bad comment is a reaction, and that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to educate, we're trying to bullshit. No different than if you came into my shop and it was 1972 and we weren't on the internet right now and we weren't on YouTube, but we were having a cigarette and eating a donut, having a cup of coffee in the morning, discussing opinions, ideas. That's what Collector's Corner is about. Metal Mike, Buzzard Junk, Scrapper, American, Reality, Unscripted, Pickers. Right? Because that's what we are. And then we are collectors, junkers, scrappers, hoarders, all the guys and ladies that watch my videos. All of them. All 100 of them, or whatever the hell number I got. 50 people that watch me. 10 people that watch me. Whatever the case. We're out there for entertainment. And like I said, if I stir something up in you, that's okay. If you stir something up in me, that's okay. Because it brings our passion to the surface. Then we're able to discuss, throw ideas around, opinions. It's what the world is made out of, right? Assholes, all of us. Hey now, Metal Mike, always hunting for reproductions and for real pieces. So, that being said, I think I've covered it. I think I explained myself very well on that one, and if not, that's okay. But let's get back to it, right guys? Let's go out there, let's find some things. Holy. If anyone wants to make a trade, I'm looking for German helmets, World War II original. I'm looking for German World War II original items. Actually American, Japanese, Italian, you name it. Russian even. Anything from World War II, World War I, or even Vietnam, if it's got patina, it's beat up, it's got a hole in it, a bullet hole, it's rusty, it's falling apart, you found it in a barn, it was hanging on a nail, I want it! Can I buy it from you? Sure, but I love to trade. I love to barter. I love to go back to those school days when I was a little kid and I would trade 20 Hot Wheels for one Hot Wheel. Here's an interesting story, because I am white trash. I grew up white trash. I think I was 5 or 6 years old, and boy, when I was a kid, I was a little piece of shit. Some of you would say, oh, you still are. Well, hey now, that's opinion, right? Everyone's got one. But whatever the case, I was a young boy, white trash. Here we go, you're going to be able to label me now because I'm going to give you some private information. When I grew up, we were poor white trash on welfare. You believe it. It's reality. It happens. We're out there. And when I grew up on welfare, it was me and my mother. We had nothing. There was no food in the fridge. There was no, like I said, I got one pair of pants a year, one pair of shoes a year. Whang! But that's what I grew up in. So food stamps, those were my meals. When I was hungry, I said, Mom, I'm hungry. My mom gave me $2 in food stamps. Mind you, they were literally a food stamp that came in a booklet at the time. And then I would go to Speedy Market and get myself a Chuck Wagon burger. Now, there was one time a kid across the alley from me got this amazing new Hot Wheel. It was so fucking rad. I think it was purple with yellow flames, if I remember right. Oh, I remember those old Hot Wheels so well, and the Matchbox too. But the Hot Wheels, there was something about them, man, in the 70s. They just in the packaging, they can try the reproductions of those. They try to create that magic. They can't do it. Anyway, the kid had a new one across the alley from me, and I had to have it. So I went home, I went in my mother's purse, and I took the whole book of food stamps, which was probably, who knows, 20, 40, maybe it was only 10, 15 bucks. I don't know. Maybe it was 100 bucks in food stamps, and I traded those food stamps for the Hot Wheel. Well, luckily, the brother of the kid, the older brother, what the hell's a little 6-year-old doing with food stamps, noticed he had them, realized he made the trade, brought the food stamps back to me, to my mother, and gave them back to me, and I got my ass paddled brutally, which I deserved at the time. Different era, mind you. And what does that have to do with it? It's just trading, you know, and so I traded all these food stamps, like basically our whole food supply, for this one Hot Wheel. Well, I don't have food stamps now, I don't get food stamps, I'm not on welfare, but what I do have is I have some junky old antique toys, and maybe I can make a trade with you and give you something that you collect for something that I collect. And like I said, that's German helmets, Iron Crosses, Japanese, Russian, anything from World War I, World War II, Vietnam. I love it. I'd actually, to be honest with you, for my collection, I want an Iraq helmet from the Gulf War era, and actually when we just invaded them the last time back in 2000, 2001, whatever the case. They have a helmet. It's called the Darth Vader helmet. It's got some value to it. And I'm interested in that. A combat helmet that maybe it was over in just that recent war with Iraq, with some battle damage. The thing is the troops weren't allowed to send that stuff home now. There's no such thing as war booty anymore. You can't do it. So anything that got home went undercover through the black market military to get here to the States. So I'm looking for anything Iraq War, Korean War, Vietnam War, World War II, World War I. I want it. And I will make a hell of a trade with you. So maybe if you have something that you collect, steel press toys, whatever, tin toys, whatever it is, let me know, and maybe I have a lot of it and I can compensate. Because obviously as collectors, I collect military stuff, but as you can see I have a hoard around me of many different things that I don't have any attachment to and no love for. My steel press toys, I do, but I would let some of them go for the proper piece for my military collection. So let's trade. If there's a guy out there that's got a hell of a collection and you collect something and then you also happen to have a German helmet, that's cool, but really doesn't fit into your collection, let's barter. Let's trade. Let's work something out. I will send you a big old box of cool stuff for your one box of cool stuff. Hey now, Metal Mike, always ranting, always raving. Fuck, it's probably 8:30 in the morning. What the hell am I going to get accomplished today? I don't fucking know, other than being a father and being a good father and trying to be the best I can. One more day, hey? Going to listen to lots of heavy metal today, and I'm going to always poke around in this horde. Have a great day. It's Wednesday. Get out there, find it. It's got to be Garage Sale Day somewhere. So someone out there can go out and hit the market. Now, if you're on the West Coast, man, you're a couple hours behind me, so that means you're going to get up yet. Get out there and find something. Hey now, there's so many of us that can't get out and hit the streets. Get out there, find it, Sanford and Son style, whatever you want to do. Live, we're alive, we're above ground, blessed. Hey now, I fucking love it. And so do you, right? Because we're alive. We got another day under our belt, in front of us. Let's take advantage of it and let's live in the moment. Peace.